You know, it's a funny thing. You'd think the first company to invent something would be the one that ends up on top, right? But that's not always how it works. It all comes down to one critical thing: timing. That single decision, when to jump into a market, can literally be the difference between becoming a household name and just a forgotten footnote in a history book. So let's get into it.
So what's the play? Are you the one who kicks down the door and plants the flag first, the one who literally invents the future? Or do you play it cool? Let someone else be the guinea pig. Take all the risks, all the arrows, and then you sweep in later with a better, smarter version. It's a classic strategic showdown, and we're going to explore it.
All right, so this whole decision really boils down to two main playbooks for winning. You've got the first mover on one side and the fast follower on the other. Let's unpack what each of these strategies really means.
Okay, first up, the first mover. Think of them as the ultimate trailblazer. These guys don't just step into a market, they create the market from scratch. They're the ones dreaming up a whole new category, a product nobody's ever seen before, building something where there was just nothing. Their whole game, their entire advantage is built on that single idea, being first.
But then you've got the fast follower, and they are playing a totally different game. They're the ones sitting back, watching from the sidelines. They let the pioneer burn all the cash, all the energy, just to prove that people even want this thing. And then, once the coast is clear and the hard work's done, they swoop in. They've learned from every single mistake the first guy made, and they launch something that's way better, way more polished.
So let's put them side by side. The first mover, they can get that instant brand recognition, become the name everyone knows, and lock in customers early on. The downside? Man, they are burning through cash on research and development, and they're making a massive bet that the world is even ready for what they're selling. Now the fast follower, they've got way less risk. They can scale up faster because the tech is already figured out. But their big challenge? They've got to fight tooth and nail to get noticed and poach customers from the guy who was there first. It's that classic dilemma, high risk, high reward, versus a much more calculated, tactical move.
Okay, so when does it actually make sense to be the first one in? Well, being a first mover is an absolute home run if you have something that's genuinely groundbreaking. We're talking about a technology so unique, it lets you build a giant protective moat around your business. Think about things like strong network effects, where every single new person who joins makes the service better for everyone else. Or creating super high switching costs, where it's just a massive pain for your customers to leave you for a competitor. And this is a big one, you absolutely need deep pockets, because you're the one who has to pay to educate the entire world on why they even need this thing you've invented.
All right, on the flip side, when is it smarter to wait? The fast follower strategy just thrives in chaos. When a market is totally unpredictable, when what customers want seems to change every 5 minutes, and especially when the first version of the technology can be easily copied and improved, that's when letting someone else take all the initial risk is the genius move. You let them eat the costs of R&D and marketing, and then you jump in with a product that's just plain better.
Okay, theory is one thing, but this is where it gets really fun. Let's look at how these strategies actually play out in the real world, with some legendary showdowns.
I mean, look at Tesla, a picture-perfect example of a first-mover win. They didn't just go out and build an electric car. That's not what they did. They built an entire ecosystem around it. Their supercharger network, that created a huge barrier for anyone else trying to compete. Their decision to vertically integrate their battery production, that gave them total control over their supply chain. See, they didn't just enter the market, they completely rewrote the rulebook for the whole auto industry.
But wait a second. Being first is absolutely no guarantee you'll win in the end. I mean, do you remember Friendster or MySpace? For a hot minute, they were the undisputed kings of social networking. They were the pioneers. They blazed the trail, but they couldn't scale, they couldn't evolve, and they fizzled out. And that brings up a really fascinating question. If the pioneer doesn't always win, then who does?
And here's your answer. This is the raw power of the fast follower. Facebook saw the chaos of MySpace and came in with something cleaner, something more connected. Apple watched BlackBerry dominate the business world and then delivered the iPhone, a vastly superior experience for everyone. And Google? They didn't invent the search engine. They just perfected it after watching sites like Alta Vista. We see it time and time again. The follower learns, improves, and in the end, dominates.
All right, so we've covered the theory, we've looked at the real-world examples. Now let's get practical. How do you actually make the right call for your own project or business?
This matrix here is a really powerful tool to guide your thinking. You just start by looking at the market conditions. Is everything up in the air? Super uncertain? That's a huge signal that a fast follower play might be smart. On the other hand, do you have some patented, game-changing tech? Well, that just screams first mover. The key takeaway here is that it's not about some emotional desire to be first. It's about being smart and matching your strategy to what's actually happening in the market.
So, if you decide to go the first mover route, your playbook is called land and defend. And yeah, it's every bit as aggressive as it sounds. You have to move at lightning speed to file patents. You got to spend big to teach people why your thing is so essential. And you need to build those sticky network effects and high switching costs as fast as you possibly can. You're basically building a fortress.
Now, if you're playing the fast follower, your playbook is learn and leap. And this is a much more methodical, almost surgical approach. Your number one job is to become an obsessive expert on the pioneers' screw-ups. Where do they drop the ball? What are their customers constantly complaining about? And then you use that intel to build something better, cheaper, or just way more elegant. You use a superior user experience to completely outmaneuver them.
But hang on a second. What if this whole thing isn't just a simple choice between first or second? What if it's not that black and white? The way business works today, it kind of points to a third, more subtle path.
Okay, this is where it gets really, really interesting. If you look at some of the most dominant companies out there, you realize they weren't really the pioneers, but they weren't just fast followers either. They were something else. They jumped in at the perfect moment. You know, after the market was kind of warmed up, but before it got too crowded, they found this perfect strategic window to swoop in and grab what you might call a modified first-mover advantage.
I mean, just think about it for a second. There were MP3 players before the iPod. There were smartphones before the iPhone. There was video conferencing before Zoom and music streaming before Spotify. None of these companies actually invented their categories. What they did was redefine them so completely that it feels like they did. Their absolute genius was in their timing, entering at the exact right moment to take advantage of new tech and changing customer behavior.
And that right there is the key. It's called positioned leadership. It's got nothing to do with being first on a timeline. It's all about being perceived as the one and only leader in the customer's mind. They just own the story so well that everyone forgot about the guys who came before them. So, let's wrap this up. What are the big takeaways here? 1. Timing isn't luck. It's a deliberate strategy. 2. Being a first mover is only a winning move if you can build a fortress to protect your idea. 3. Fast followers win by out-executing and out-learning the pioneers. But maybe the biggest lesson of all, it's often not about actually being first, but about making the customer feel like you were. And I'll leave you with this one final thought. We live in a world that is completely obsessed with speed, with being first. But remember this, it's not just about how fast you're going. It's about whether you're going in the right direction at the right time. So the real question you have to ask yourself is, are you just building for speed, or are you building to win?